Hi, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about the negativity bias. And so, what is that? And why would that be something we may need to unlearn? It's a cognitive or mental tendency where our mind naturally steers towards the negative information in our environment. It could be in people, it could be in relationships, anything in our outside world that we naturally gravitate towards. And the problem with that is it can result in overlooking the good that's in our life, the positives. And it's not entirely bad. And I don't want to label things as good and bad, and not all things are all good or all bad to begin with, right? It has a survival basis. There's a reason why this negativity bias even exists, right? So think about this. Our ancestors back in caveman times, back out in the wild before civilized society, they needed this negativity bias to survive, whether it was to run away from the tiger or any other threat, because what's potentially, quote, negative in our environment could be a potential threat. They needed this negativity bias. However, in today's modern day civilized society, it's obviously not serving us in that same way, where we're not necessarily running away from tigers or hyenas. Unless your boss is like a hyena, then maybe it's a little, maybe that's an exception, but then maybe, okay, I kind of get it. It's just not serving us in that same way today. And it's something I would encourage you all to kind of think about and be mindful about. And hey, I'm not perfect. I know I even get caught up in that negativity bias too. It's evolutionarily based after all. That hard wiring is still there in our brain. So how can we rewire the brain? There's a bunch of different techniques that we could use. And I know you've probably heard of this all. You're probably like, Dr. Kavita, okay, yes, breath work, I know. Meditating, I know. Yoga. Yes, those are all good things that help us get out of our negativity bias. Even if it's having a happy playlist, just first of all, catching yourself, no judgment. We're all human. We all do this. Catching yourself is the first step and be like, oh my God, I actually just caught up in the negative that all day today, or, forgetting all the positives. And so balancing it is the key. One of the ways to balance it, I kid you not, gratitude is like a natural antidepressant. Journaling is phenomenal. Highly recommend. Gratitude, whether you're even just thinking about the positives from your day, even just 3 things can really provide some balance in your brain. And gratitude journaling, particularly, there's something more important or something more powerful with writing it down, because it actually really helps sink in more so. I know it gets talked about a lot. There's really some science really behind it. What I particularly like is from Dr. Brene Brown, who I love. She's one of the renowned psychologists and wrote many books that I love. She talks about having a positive mental picture memory book. The thing is, let's say you're in your car and you're driving, or you're in a meeting and you really are having a hard time or having a hard day, trying to get unstuck from that very negativity bias. We need tools in our toolbox that are in our mind wherever we go. If we can't look at our phones, if we can't look at anything, what are we going to do? So I like to think about my kids when I get home and they come running to me, smiling and laughing, and they're like, Mommy. So I think about things like that. I think about my wedding day, or, other positive moments and memories in my life. And they're mentally cataloged right there, all in my mind to refer to. The more you think about it, the more you're going to rewire your brain, and it's going to be easier to get to, kind of like an easier path to drive through instead of being off the beaten path. They say in our world, in the mental health world, that neurons are brain cells that fire together, wire together. So the more thinking you put into these alternative or more positive ways of thinking, it really helps with balancing or combating that negativity bias. What I also think doesn't help the negativity bias is that in today's digital era, we also have the confirmation bias that also is sneaking in and reinforcing that negativity bias. So let's say you're Googling or ChatGPTing, what are the most horrible things about sourdough bread? I don't know. And then it's of course going to tell you everything that's wrong with it. And on the flip side, if you're Googling, oh my gosh, why is everyone so upset? So you get the idea. Whatever you're searching and the terms you're using, we're getting this feedback and this reinforcement of the negativity bias. So we're kind of up in arms and more up against it now more than ever. And one of the ways to cope that I see all the time, people doom scroll. And look, no judgment at all. I do it all the time too. The problem with that is it's really taking away from the present moment. No judgment at all. I just always want you to know whenever you're listening, this is a judgment-free space. I really mean it with all my heart. So here's another thing, guys. So I have to give credit to my therapist for this. She said, why don't you create a calming corner in your home? And it's my little meditation space, my Zen space. I call it my calming corner, and it's in my office. And what's great about it is that my own negativity bias barely has any room to be in there when I sit down in that space. It's my own curated space. I have a soft, really fluffy carpet on there that I'm sitting on. I have all these like candles, lavender, and you name it. So it smells good. And as I walk in, it's like instantly all the melt is like stressing away. And what's beautiful about that is you don't need much space at all. And you can put all your favorite things there. Anything that, reminds you of the positives in life, pictures, it could be anything. So thank you so much for listening and watching, my lovely fellow human beings. And as an FYI for you, my lovely listener, please note, this is all out of love. And just so you know, this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and not a substitute for professional mental health or medical treatment or medical advice. And listening to this podcast does not create or constitute any type of doctor-patient relationship. If you are experiencing any mental health concerns or medical concerns, please make sure you seek professional advice from your actual doctor, whether that's with your primary care physician or psychiatrist, or even a therapist for mental health treatment. If you are experiencing a mental health or medical emergency, you can always dial 988, which is the 24/7 National Suicide Hotline. It's 24/7 and it connects you to a trained crisis counselor. You can also always text the word home to the number 741-741, which is also that 24/7 service. You can always go to your nearest emergency room for care and seek medical assistance.